Boom. Awesome, guys. All right. Welcome to week 9. This was supposed to be a 90-day program, which I think is 12 weeks, right? But we're going to make it go longer because there's a lot of things that I need to teach you guys that I haven't had a chance yet. So I thought we could nail it in 90 days, but it's really hard because we've taken some breaks and went off into other directions. So we're probably going to make this a 4-month coaching course for you guys, at least to keep our heads straight until we get out of this Corona thing. So if you guys can just say, yeah, you can hear me and see the screen in the chat, that would be really cool. And then I'll get rocking here. See Ordo. Oh, thank you. Cool. All right. You guys are awesome. All right. So the top 10 ways to get buyers. Like I said, I did this a couple years ago at Club Wealth, and I forget where it was, but people really liked it. And I think it changed a couple careers. It says right here, as buyer's agents, we can't wait for a team leader to give us all the leads. So how do we help, right? So if you're on my team, you have a database of 25,000 leads, and you get to go through that every day. And some people are not that blessed, right? Some people either A, can't quite yet afford to buy a million leads, or they can't. Sometimes people just don't want to dig through a database and find a bunch of people. So we put this class together so you can actually find buyers without spending a whole lot of money and without any long-term commitments to, like when we sign up for, lead buying things, you sign pretty long contracts that suck. So let's just jump right in here. You guys, if there's one thing I could teach you in this business, listings are everything. When you have listings, you control the business. You've all heard list to last, all that stuff. But the good buyers come from sign calls. Right on here, first thing I was going to say, you could probably call Jesse at Call Action, and that's what we're using on our sign. It validates their information. It gives you all their social media. It starts them on little drip campaigns. You could talk back and forth with them. I think that's the best number to put on your sign right now. If you are with EXP, you do have your KV Core call capture number that you get for free. So a really good idea to put that on your signs too. That'll put them on a campaign. So, but what I love about sign calls is it's people that are actually driving around, right? So if they're going to call off a sign, they either live in the neighborhood, which is cool. Maybe they want to list their house too, which is like the very first thing you always need to be looking for. Or sometimes they just love the neighborhood, that they're so excited about the neighborhood that they want to go drive the neighborhood and look for signs. And when you get people that motivated, it's 100 times better than a Zillow lead or a Realtor.com lead or any other kind of lead like that. And people ask me about this time also, should I put flyer boxes up? Totally up to you. There's a couple things you need to know about flyer boxes. Number one, they get wet, they get ruined. Kids use them and make paper airplanes out of them. And the sellers get really upset when you don't have them full. So one of the things I always taught my clients is keep 100 of them and then put them in the box. And the second you put them in the box, call for another one. Club Wealth says put a pink piece of paper in there. Tell the owners when they get to that piece of paper, it's time to reorder. Or you could just have it on your assistance list or your list of things to check all the time. But I always tell the owners, look, I can't control this. You need to help me. If you see that box, getting empty, call me, because I can't drive around. It could be one little kid that takes 100 flyers out. So that's that. So what I wanted to put on here, if you are on a team, it says your team leader will love you, because if you take sign calls really seriously, which you should, and find other listings, imagine when you come to your team leader the next day and say, hey, I got another listing. Hey, I got another listing. Because a lot of team leaders are too busy to even answer sign calls. So they just pass them along to the buyer's agents. And sometimes the buyer's agents don't exactly do what they're supposed to do. So if you're lucky enough to be in that situation, I promise you, your team leader is going to really love you and give you all the leads if you're the one that's actually trying to convert. So we're going to talk about some sign call conversion scripts in a minute, but it is the key, right? This is where your hour a day of skill set comes together. This is where your hour a day of self-help comes together. This is where your previewing 2 hours a day of property comes together. Your follow, all this stuff. This is where things really start to click, right? Up until this week, we've been talking a lot about how to attract people online, but now we're going to attract people by voice, which is really hard because like right now you can see my body language, you can see when I'm smiling, all that stuff. But conversion is going to be everything. And before we get to the end of this, we're going to go onto my YouTube channel and we're going to go through the conversion scripts. There's, I think, 5 scripts that I've used my entire career, and every single one of them have proven to work. So you can kind of just forget everything else you've ever heard because these have been the most time-tested scripts that I've ever used. We'll talk about one right now in case I forget about it later. And I've been talking to a lot of buyers this week and last week, and people are calling and they're interested in homes. But here's what they're saying: "What do you think, Mike? Is this a really good time to buy a home or not? I'm not really sure what's going to go on. I'm not really sure how long this is going to last." But in Corona times, they're nervous, and I say, you know what? I totally understand. I'm nervous too. But here's what I know: these interest rates were only going to be around as long as the virus. After the virus, those rates are going to go away and they'll probably go back up. How fast, we don't know. But what I do know, this is the first time in my career in almost 30 years that it's been a seller's market and a buyer's market. And they go, how is that possible? Well, the sellers are getting all their money for the home right now, and the buyers don't care to pay it because they're still having a payment that they would have 3 or 4 years ago. So the buyers are really excited that they didn't lose out, and the sellers are really excited because they're getting top dollar for the home. So it's kind of a cool market for everybody. And they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I just say, imagine if the interest rates went up 2% or 3% on a $500,000 loan, and calculate that out and say, look, you're only gonna save. If the rates go up, you're going to have an $80 per 10,000, right? Or I think it's even more than that. So it really affects your buying power. So if somebody says, well, I'm going to wait and see what happens, I think the market's going to crash over the next couple of years. Cool. So if the prices did come down 20% or 30% and the interest rates went up 3 or 4 points, it's still a wash. So these people are going to wait all this time for no reason. So you can get better at that and talk about that a little bit later. Practicing is key. I know my team role plays, I think, almost every day now. And it's amazing to see how some of the agents have really come a long way with role play. The thing I want to point out about that is make sure you switch out partners every 30 days and try to find people that go to different trainings. Some might go to Tom Ferry, some might go to Mike Ferry, some might go to Craig Proctor, and they have all these different objection handlers. So you want to switch role play partners all the time. Where do you find role play partners? Just go ahead and post in Club Wealth, post in Lab Coat, post in Real Closers, and just say, hey, I'm looking for role play partners. Would you guys be interested in? I always tried to find role play partners that were better than me, but sometimes really, really, really good agents only want to role play with really, really, really good agents. So if you practice up and then you tell a really, really, really good agent that you're practiced up, the chances are better than they're going to let you jump in on that. All right. Confidence is everything, you guys. When I get on the phone with a salesperson, and I buy a lot of crap. I think it was because I grew up with nothing. I was never allowed to buy anything, right? So now that I'm older and have a little bit more money, I like to buy crap: boats, cars, motorhomes, other houses, all kinds of stuff. So I'm always calling people, and there's salespeople involved, right? And I know right away, if this person isn't real confident, I'm going to blow right through them and go to the owner of the place or the manager or something. And I really don't even give them the time of day. And I can sense commission breath over the phone. I can sense weakness. I can sense poor skill set. I can sense all these things, and the buyers can too. If a buyer knows more than about a neighborhood than you do, that's a really sad sign. So let's say you took a listing 5 miles out of town, and you don't know a lot about the neighborhood, and the buyer starts firing off questions to you, and if you don't know the answers, they're going to go away. They're not going to use you. They might get information on that house that they're calling, but you're not going to be able to convert them to a buyer. And I see it every day. I coach agents and they're like, I said all the right stuff. And I go, okay, let's role play it. And the very first thing I could do is to go, well, your skill set's off. You're not confident. And they're like, well, it's just because I'm nervous because you're doing it with me. No, if you should be way more nervous with a real buyer, not me. Does that make sense, you guys? I hope it does. All right. So previewing property, it's on my perfect daily schedule, 2 hours a day, guys. I know it's hard to do right now, but you can still take an hour a day and go through your MLS and really start learning the neighborhoods, the floor plans, because when you convert a sign call, it's easy, it's quick, and they're usually now buyers. We talk a lot about the 3 different stages of the buyers. When National Association did the survey and they wanted to figure out buyers, and they came out of this like everything NAR's ever done. This is my favorite: the aspirational buyers. Somebody's like, yeah, I want to buy a home someday, right? And then you have the research buyers. Sign calls are good for research buyers because they're really researching the cul-de-sacs, the view streets, the how close they are to the school, do they have RV parking? And these guys are really cool. And then the transactional buyers. So we'll go back, we'll talk about it again at the end, but I also want to sort of go over the script right now. And I actually love this script, and I tell my team to use it sometimes too. I say, listen, when you can't quite tell where a buyer's at, do they want to buy right now? Do they want to buy today? We'll start asking them questions like this. And this is kind of the way the conversation goes with me. I go, Mr. Smith, let me just ask you, I know there's a couple different stages that buyers are working in. They're in those stages where like, we really want to buy a home someday. And, we're going to start working on that. Maybe call a lender. And then I know there's people that are really hardcore research buyers, and they're going, man, where are the schools? Are the schools good? Da, da, da. And then there's buyers that just want to buy right now. And that's called a transactional buyer, Mr. Smith. And I actually say that to them, you guys. And they go, oh, and I go, where do you find yourself? And it's just kind of like, if you ask a real estate agent, where on a scale of 1 to 10 about their business, they're always going to say about a 6 or a 7. And I always ask them, okay, what could I do to make it to a 9 or a 10? And that's typically when I'm talking to them about coming to our company or going on our team. And the buyers are going to be about the same too. They want to say, I'm transactional, but they don't want you to be jumping on them like, oh, if you want to buy a home right now. But at the same time, they are in a research stage, so they are asking questions. And they always say somewhere in the middle of transactional and research. And then you got a pretty good buyer lead, so you can talk to them, say, listen, the reason I want to know if you're a transactional buyer is we work all day, every day to find homes not on the market. And obviously we do that to avoid bidding wars, multiple offers, and really trying to get you the home you want. So if you think you're a transactional buyer, it's a good time to tell me that, because I could send you that list of off-market properties, right? So I can already hear some of your voices. Well, where do I get that list? Right? It's super easy. For sell by owners, past cancels, expireds, network groups with other agents, your own upcoming past client things, all kinds of websites out there that have make me move, all those things. So keep a list. Like, I love Larry, who's on this call, my team leader. He's awesome. Like, he always has a list. So the other day I gave him a buyer, and I just remember we have to do something on that file, Larry. But I gave him a buyer, and I said, we need an off-market property. And within 48 hours, Larry had it. And she was working with 2 or 3 other agents. One was from out of the area, but it was her husband's best friend. And then they happened to stumble upon another agent out here. But the fact that we use that language about off-market properties, and we have them, and we do all day, every day to find things like that, that really helped. So within 48 hours, these people have been looking for a home for months. We had them in escrow. Good job, Larry. So that's really important. All right, so technology, like I said, the buyer may know the inventory more than us. So it's unfortunate, but yes, we have to scour all the portal websites too, and we have to know what's on there. So if you have a farm, or if you have an area that you work, you should skim those websites as they scam you, and look for homes. You're like, what is that? Like, they'll have NODs pop up, or they'll have make me moves pop up, or they're going to have expired and withdrawn, canceled listings that are stupid. And you got to be able to tell the buyer, I know what you're talking about. I saw that, Larry. And then you go, oh, so when they ask you, you're like, I already know that house. No, that's bullshit. That's not available. That already sold. That's whatever it is. And you can go ahead and tell them. So this is kind of basic stuff, guys. But as you're working, you have to think about all this at the same time, because it all comes together, and you have a 30-second window of opportunity to nail this. Because if you don't, they're like, peace out. I'm calling another agent, or I'm just not going to be loyal to that agent. And then just like any other lead, sign calls have to be returned immediately. And I always tell agents, look, this is a hard time to be living in business, because I'll admit 9 times out of 10, the calls are salespeople. They're spammers, scammers. And I'm just like, and I tell my wife every time we're in the car together, she goes, why don't you answer your phone? I'm like, trust me, next time I ring, I'll show you. And she'll be like, oh, okay. Yeah. Cause it's always just junk calls. But if you're serious about working buyers, this is the reason why you're going to want to get a special line, so it's a sign call, right? Whether it's I use Umail, youmail.com. They give you a separate phone number with that account, so you can use that. You could use a Google Voice number. You can use call action. You could use the call capture number from KV Course. So it's just a little tip so you can say, oh man, this is a sales call. And then change the ringer on that to where it's like money, money, money. Something so you go, oh, crud, hold on. Even if I was showing a house, I would still say, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, these people are calling on a house down the street. I just need to take them real quick. Then when I hang up with them, every time because I used to show, 20, 30, 40 homes a day on the weekends when I was first in the business. And I would take calls all the time. And I would just say, hey, listen, I'm sorry I did that. I just hope you can appreciate the aggressiveness when it comes time for me to do that for you when you guys are looking for a home. And then they're like, yeah, that makes sense. So that's pretty cool. All right. So sign calls, that's our number one, right? That's it. Write that down. That's our number one thing. Now, I'm not sure why this slide is not working. That's terrible. So I apologize that. So open houses, and yes, I know today they're not the best, but they will come back. I promise you. Open houses for me were something that was just paramount because I would never do an open house without selling a home from an open house, whether it was a buyer coming in, it was a neighbor getting a home on the market. I just can't remember a time once I got good at open houses that I never sold a home. So I said, if I need to make 10 grand right now, I'm going to do an open house. And that's powerful. Like you get to design your paychecks. And there's never been a time where you could do that. Now, if you're writing things down or taking notes, there's 4 different ways of learning open houses that are really good. Number one, on our YouTube channel and on our podcast, we have part 1 and 2. We have 2 hours of open house training, and it's pretty intense to do an open house the right way. I know you can't see it right here, but from 10 to 6 are the best hours. Obviously in the winter time, maybe not because it gets dark early. But here, like in California right now, it stays light till 8 o'clock at night. And the people say no, and since you guys can't talk back to me right now, I'm just going to say you're lazy if you don't do it from these hours. 11 to 3 is not the time to do an open house because people are still out driving around from 9 to 11 and from 3 to 6, especially when they go to church and after church and they start doing stuff, or before church. Even if they don't go to church, they're going to depot runs and they're all over. They're driving around. If you do an open house from 11 to 3, and you'll see it, open houses will pick back up as our inventory picks back up, which it will. I promise it's already doing it. And the signs, you'll have 4 or 5 signs on one corner. And the buyer's like, I don't know where to go. But if you're out there and your sign's out there at 9 when nobody else is, they know where to go. You don't have to compete. It's a good time if you're going to waste an entire day. Let's admit it. If you do an open house from 11 to 3, you've already effed your day up. So you might as well do a real work day. And don't say, oh, but it's Sunday. It's not a real work day. I want to take it easy too. No, bullshit. Then you take Tuesday off and have a real day off because open house days are real. So we'll probably go through an open house training as we extend this program. But if you're going to get a jump on it, I'm just trying to give you a couple little tips. So again, be the area expert. We already talked about that. When does open house start? Well, a 7-day week before it happens. And here's where everybody says, I know, but Mike, houses are selling so fast that we don't know if it's going to be available if you start marketing on Monday for Sunday. I get it. But I promise you, there's no downside to hustling, trying to get people into that open house, because when they call you and say, hey, where's the open house? You can say, I did such a good job marketing, and during the week, we sold it before the weekend. I'm sorry. But wait, I have other off-market properties, right? And that's how we convert more buyers. So don't be like, oh, I'm getting like 4 showings before Friday, so I don't want to market my open house. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So of course, blast it everywhere and print it online. Signs are a big deal. Do not put up 6 signs, put up 60 signs if you can. I never ever less than put out 20 signs, but it was typically 40 or 50 signs. Like in my office right now, there's, since we're on Corona, I looked in our storage room the other day and there was probably 100 signs in there. I was just like, oh, just the smell of open house signs. I was like, this is so good. There's so many signs in here right now. But you got to get all the main arteries through your town. Like there's Main Street and there's this freeway and there's this freeway. So you want to scatter them all over, because if you're lazy and say, I only want to put out 20, you could be missing an entire group of real buyers that want to buy a home today coming from the other side or the other street or other side of town or whatever. So I would start working now to find kids in the area, college kids, whatever, that will put them out for maybe $2 or $3 a sign. And then that way they can come to your house, put them out, take them back. You map them out where you want them for them. And then that way you don't have a reason to say, oh, and don't say, and I had another client the other day said, well, I don't want to spend the money to do that. I'm like, are you high? First of all, you're not going to do it. You're not going to spend the extra 20, $30, but a Zillow lead is $200. Like, come on, no. If you know you could sell a home, if you knew you could make $5,000 by spending 50, would you do it? And the answer is always yes. But I have to tell people that. I have to talk them into that. And I think what it is, and you guys could even say something in the chat if you want about this, but doesn't this make sense to you? The people that aren't willing to spend the money and people that aren't willing to spend the time and effort, don't you think they already subconsciously guilty know that they're lazy? So they go, well, I suck so bad at open houses, I probably won't sell one anyway, so why would I spend the time, effort, energy, or money, right? Does that make sense? There's a lot of things we go through in life that you're just like, I don't want to do that because I already know I'm sucking at it. I'm not doing it right. I'm doing it lazy. And I have things like that too. Like I was trying to, I don't even want to say it. I'm not a very handy guy, right? If I could pay somebody to do it, I'm going to do it. But a couple of weekends ago, the kids and I were working in the backyard, and I swear everything I did was half-assed. I was like trying to paint a fence. It was half-assed. I was trying to work on my off-road car, and it was half-assed. I'm like, this is just stupid, like totally stupid. Like right now this morning, I dropped my motorhome off at an RV repair place, and there was a latch broken in the door. And I go, well, I could probably fix it if I tore the door apart, but I'm smart enough to know I'll probably strip out things, break things, screw it all up. So screw it. I took it in for one little repair, and I feel better doing that because I know it's going to be done right. All right. Don't worry about the other buyers with agents, right? So one of the biggest things that we do as agents is when we have open houses, we always say, well, half the people coming through are working with agents already, to the point where agents have this weird thing where they go, hey, are you working with another agent? Well, first of all, I want them to say yes. And I know you feel weird about that, but I want them to say yes because I know they're serious and motivated and looking for homes. And then I just say, fantastic. We have that conversation to see if they're in a transactional thing. And I never ask the agent's name because they're all my friends, right? I don't want to feel bad and guilty snagging a client from them, but they're not doing their job and I'm going to. So there it goes. But reality is to say, oh, fantastic. So if I found a home of your dreams that wasn't on the market, would you see that home with me? And they're like, yeah, what do you got? I go, oh, geez, well, it sounds like you're a transactional buyer. Why don't I get the list? Let's go ahead and set an appointment for tomorrow afternoon. I'll gather 2 or 3 homes and we'll go see them. And you could test their motivation. And they'll be like, okay, and they're not on the market? No, they don't even have signs up. And then if you do, if you're not successful at finding those, so change it. Cop up, say, I thought I had a couple, but I don't think these homes are really good fit for you, but I'm going to keep looking, and have those types of conversations. So in Club Wealth, I know there's half of you guys are Club Wealth, there is a Trello card with all this really cool stuff. My podcast, realestatemarketingshow.com. Oh, I was going to tell you about the other places. If you're writing this stuff down, on our David Knox coaching, everyone listening to this has David Knox coaching for free. You could be on that. And then also there is Brent Gove Resources, brentgoveresources.com. There's a open house training on that. So you have Brent Gove, Mike Bjorkman, David Knox, and Club Wealth. There's 4 really good ways. After watching that, you'll never need open house training again. But we're going to do one on here anyways, I decided. So, all right, let's moving right along. What was that, number 2? Oh, this is taking a long time. Mailing. Let's talk about mailing, guys. Mailing to me is an art. It's an art of the past, but if done right, it works really, really good. So picture yourself driving around your neighborhood or your city, and there's massive apartment buildings everywhere, just all over the place. You're like, if I could only find those people in there, like in my town, they're like $2 to $3 grand a month, and you could buy a $500,000 house for $2 to $3 grand a month. So I want to get a hold of those people. So yes, you can knock the doors and get, drive them crazy and probably get shot, or you can mail to them and start a neat mailing campaign. It's kind of like a geographical farm, but these are people you're going after, their tenants, and your title companies and core should be able to find all these mailings. There's plenty of people where you can get the addresses, and also non-owner occupieds. I love starting a buyer program for tenants because you could do so much for them, right? If you mail to them and you offer things down like free credit cleanup, right? Call Mike Bjorkman and he'll give you free credit cleanup because a lot of people think they're not buying right now because of credit. 0 down loan programs, right? There's other things like, did you know you could borrow from your 401k? Most people don't know that. Did you know there are down payment assistance programs? Most people don't know about that. So picture this. if you had somebody who internally thinks they're a train wreck, now let's be honest, you could be a train wreck and buy a home FHA, and with 90-day lates, charge-offs, tax liens, no money down, like you could pretty much be a ding dong and get a home FHA. So if these people know that, it works. So start your campaign. One weekend it might be free credit cleanup. One weekend it might be zero down. But the idea is to do it consistently, just like a geographical farm. So these tenants, if they're in a 12-month lease or whatever, will start to go, God, I have zero reason to call this guy. And what I really like too is I'll take the average rents and I'll figure out what kind of home or condo they can buy for that. Put that on a postcard, put that in a mailer, put that in a yellow note. And that way they're just like, God, consistently. So you're going to extract them and you might spend, 1,000 or two a month, but it starts working after a few months and you're going to pull a buyer out of there every single time. So there we talk about there right now, consistent co-marketing with your lenders, co-marketing with whoever your business partners are. It says save on money. So you can do twice as many mailings. That's awesome. Rent versus own comparison. I think I just talked about that. Oh, everything should say free with no obligation. Tenants always think you're out to get them somehow, right? So everything we put free, no obligation, just trying to help out. This is real. There's no scams here. Just say I'm a good old person from a local community that's just working with buyers. So that's it. And that's what I said a minute ago. Mix up the format. Like sometimes handwritten letters that look, not really handwritten, but they look like they are, that could be better than a postcard. And then a postcard could be an 8.5 by 11. And then you can a small one. Then you can have VAs do a bunch of handwritten cards out to the neighborhoods. It just depends. So if you guys are into unique marketing that nobody else is doing, that's it. If people are telling you they're mailing consistently to non-owner occupieds, they're not. They're crazy. And by the way, if you're going to mail them on non-owner occupieds, you might as well send them another different one to the owner of the property because you still want to work non-owner occupieds the other way too. So you always want to get the listings. Another class, I guess. All right. So social media, we talked about this week before last and week 2. I think it was week 2 and week 7. So I don't need to go into social media training right now. But we will go over some more of the social media training as far as at paid ads. We're going to work more on that later. Okay, my other favorite. So what was that? That was 3 or 4. Okay, I lost track. If any of you are keeping track of 1 to 10, that's cool. Seminars are awesome. In person, first-time buyer seminars. I don't think I ever did one. The only one we did that I didn't get a buyer on. Oh, I shouldn't say that. We did get a buyer. Okay, so every one I've ever done, I've gotten a buyer on. I love these things. They're cheap. Libraries are good. Clubhouses are good. Your office is not that great. You could rent hotel rooms cheap, and have your vendors help pay for them. Either way, all you need is a projector, a screen, a couple buddies to help you, and they're perfect. And you can market the heck out of them. And I'll give you a secret. When I used to market first-time home buyer seminars, I would actually get more buyers off marketing for the home buyer seminars than I would for people that came. So people will call me all the time and say, hey, I want to know what you're going to have in this home buyer seminar because I want to buy a house now. I don't want to wait 2 weeks to go to the seminar. What do you know about me buying a home now? And that's cool. If you think, hey, Mike Bjorkman is putting on a buyer seminar, and I always did buyer seminars. I didn't do first-time buyers because I like buyers that weren't buying just their first time. I wanted second-time buyers too. So if you're going to hold a buyer seminar, you look pretty awesome. Like, man, Mike really must know what he's doing, what he's talking about. If he's giving a seminar, like you have to be pretty ballsy to give a seminar on something you don't know about. So it instills a lot of trust in these people. It's awesome. All right, let me read this thing so I can get to, I already said, get your vendors to pay, right? So I'll help you out and I'll put this together a little bit you could reach back out to me, but I'll give you a couple tips. Lenders and CPAs are the main speakers. Okay. So a lot of people say, I am no way in hell standing up in front of 50 people and doing a seminar. Public speaking scares the crud out of most people. I love it. Most people hate it. So they're like, no way, I can't do that. And I say, relax, fine. Have your lender do most of the speaking and your CPA or whoever you trust, an attorney state or whatever, have somebody that's awesome speaking, do the main majority of the speaking, right? And then you get to be the person that gets to scoop up the buyers. Let me open that real quick. I love it. Okay, good. Darcy, we love you. All right, so do giveaways. have vendors bring in baskets and wine and all that sort of stuff, and make people say, I don't know if I want to go out on a Tuesday night to a seminar, but I might win the iPad. So you'd be surprised how many people you can bring out. $100 dinners, gift cards to this and that, but have the local community pitch in. Like, go to your yogurt shop and say, hey, I need a couple $40 gift certificates. I'm going to give them away at my buyer seminar. And then go to your oil change place. I need a couple oil change things. And then you can put in there, over 100 giveaways at our seminar, just to get people like up and off their booties. Have a list of REOs and NODs. Say, come to our seminar and we're going to give you a free list of foreclosures and homes that are in default. People like that too. Food and drinks, just like realtors, people like to eat food and drinks. Know the MLS, new construction. Allow vendors to, this is an important one, guys. Listen to this, write this down. Allow vendors to speak for no more than 5 minutes each. And I don't even know why I would have put 5 minutes in here, because the real number is like 2 minutes. So the lender, the CPA, the attorney, the big speakers are the main speakers. They get to speak. I always set up the vendors like home warranty, termite, whatever else the little ones are. They're good for a couple $100 at each thing. So you want them to be able to set up a booth. And as I give the home buyer seminar, I direct them. I said, look, you need to go talk to her about what a home warranty is and what it does. And you need to go talk to him about how important a termite inspection is. And so I'll give them that, but there's no way I'm going to bore 50 people with people saying, I'm the best home warranty company in the world. And no. So hope you get that. All right, so I hope you guys like that one. We can go into that more later too, but that's a good one. Webinars, so naturally progress from an in-person to a webinar. Here's the beautiful part of this. When I used to do GoToMeetings, before Zoom was ever even dreamt of, GoToMeetings are so cool because people have to pre-register for those. And when you do these things, you can have it automatically ask questions. So if you want to register for my webinar, you need to answer these questions. Have you ever bought a home before? Do you want to buy a home? If so, when? Those types of questions during the sign-up process. So you're actually collecting leads before they even come in, and it's freaking awesome. Right? So you get to use the same slides, the same speakers. You could do it from your home or office. You could even do pre-recorded webinars. There's software out there where you can say, this is happening at 10 o'clock Saturday morning. And you could be in the Bahamas as that thing's rolling. And then you could have somebody like an assistant or a marketing person or a vendor jump on it to answer questions. So it could be pre-recorded. And I'll tell you right now, I'll give you a little tip. Most of the webinars that you guys watch are pre-recorded. They just have somebody there talking in the background, answering chats and stuff like that. And people are like, oh, I didn't even know. Have you ever signed up for a webinar and you say, which one do you want to be in? There's like a list of 20 and you just pick one. Okay, it's your webinar. Yeah, it's because they're all recorded. So it's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's a good way to get their emails, phone numbers, have free downloads. So every time you do a webinar, there's a spot. So you can say the 10 most deadly mistakes that most first-time buyers make, free download. Or the 10 things you need to look for that'll give the home a hint of being a money pit, those types of things. Little ebooks, people love ebooks, even me. Like to this day, I still download every little ebook I can because I want to duplicate it. I want to learn from it. I want to give it to somebody else. So it's awesome. So you guys, please consider this. It's a really big deal. Yes, you can have your vendors online too. They need to answer questions. So if somebody says, I want to know about insurance in this area, can I get fire insurance? And I'll say, okay, well, I happen to have my fire insurance person on the line. Ask them a question, and then they can get involved too, and it's interactive. It's more fun that way. Obviously, all the new things that we're doing, we're uploading them to Facebook and every other possible way to create an event for these things. Like there's 10 different ways that you could spend like $50 to promote an online webinar. I saw a girl, and I think it was North or South Carolina, who I really respect, doing one of these the other day, and I registered for it. But she was even smart enough to say, hey, Mike, I know you weren't on the webinar. However, here's the recording, and followed up with that on it. But I know, because I was looking at all the posts, I know they were killing it with their webinars that week. And this is a virtual, next couple of months is going to be virtual, right? So this is a really good time to knock these out, guys. And I swear, after the first one, you'll have it down. You'll know what you did wrong. You'll have the groove, and you'll just, I like this because I've never done one and not picked up a buyer. So think about these things. Like if you did one of, let's say there's 10 things that I give you today and you just 5 of them, you're going to sell a house every week. Remember, this class is designed to add a transaction a week to your current production. Each thing I teach you on. So if you mastered, all of these things, you could actually sell 10 homes a week. That's how real these things are. But these aren't very time consuming and they're a lot of fun anyways. So there you go. Upload that to your YouTube, upload that to your Facebook. So you can say, hey, you want to watch a buyer seminar for free right now? Just simply enter your information. Obviously, it collects that information and you can follow up with those guys. So I hope you guys like that. Let's not beat that one to death. Move up buyers. Massive secret to my success. Listen carefully. If you're watching something else, like on TV, or you're messing around returning an email, watch this right now, you guys. This has been one of my secrets of success my whole career. So when I first started geographically farming, I said, I want a place in high turnover, right? And I think it was my coach, I think it was my Mike Ferry coach at the time, Bill Pipes, if you guys know him. And he said, dude, you got to have move up buyers. Because here's the cool thing. Look, if you read this, farm smaller homes and condos for sellers. Why? Because they turn into buyers. Almost all these people are going to be move up buyers. So you might get their $200,000 or $300,000 little crappy condo, but you're going to sell them a $750,000 house. So effectively, it's $1 million deal. But what happens is you get bulk sales, and then sometimes if you only focus on luxury, they're usually moving out of the area or going somewhere else. A lot of people argue they moved down, and that's true. I've proven that. But most of the time they're leaving out of the area. So when I did my geographical farm, I had little condos or 800 to 1,200 square feet, and I had little houses in this one neighborhood in Saugus that I used to farm. They had 2-bedroom, 900 square foot homes, and there's like 500 or 600 single family homes that I used to farm that these people are always moving up into the same area. So it was kind of cool. They're easy and fun to sell. They're fast. Everybody can qualify for them. Advertise about move ups and contingent sellers. That's a big concern to people. Nobody really knows. And even if they've done it before, they're still concerned. So you want to be the expert on contingent selling. You want to know all the lingo, and you want to be able to say, listen, I can sell your home. Don't worry. And you don't have to be on the streets. We'll make sure you have another one before. If you talk about those things, people will call you because they're like, oh, he gets what I'm trying to do. Work with Cole Realty when calling to find names. That's pretty easy. Teach them about rental portfolios. That's another good thing too. If you do advertise or do mailers in a move up area, a lot of people say, I should rent this out. And you can say, I'll give you a free consultation on whether you should rent it out or buy it. And especially when I started my property management company, like it's a gold mine. Like people that want to know how much their homes are worth for rent, half of them still end up selling. So it's like when you talk about renting stuff to a home seller, typically you're going to get their lead before another agent does, because they're calling the rental companies first, because they're like, I don't know, but I should probably figure it out before I call a real estate agent. Calling a real estate agent is pretty definite. Calling a rental company, you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm just trying to get a price. So talk to them about that too. All right, move up buyers. Make sure you put that into your portfolio. Your sphere of influence. This has been coming up more now, and I'm not really sure why. It's becoming more now than ever, and my best guess is because of social media. So agents, and you can feel free to throw this in the chat too. Do you feel that when you go on your social media, it's all real estate agents, and the whole world and Facebook is real estate agents, or your Instagram? And what I think is happening is people are going, oh my God, there's so many agents on social media. I just don't feel comfortable like trying to work my sphere, because all my sphere is looking at all these stupid real estate agents too. Well, that is true. And it's kind of like when I first started working community outreach, I didn't like to go to chamber mixers because there was 40 realtors there and like 20 other people. So I was like, this is just a realtor event, but it's not true. Your sphere of influence is crazy. And what I've learned about sphere of influence is they do respect you and they do want to work with you, but you can't be out of sight, out of mind. They understand that you're a self-employed independent contractor and your marketing and humping actually pays your bills. So that's cool. But your sphere of influence will easily buy and sell without you if they don't know that you're around hungry for business. And I'll use this good analogy. One of my business partners at EXP, his wife's a real estate agent. And she came to me and said, like, I am doing everything. I have football, I have cheerleading, I have like book clubs. I have all this stuff, and I have a million friends, but none of them are buying homes from me or selling. I'm like, okay, let's check out your social media. Let's do all this stuff. What I found instantly was she was a secret agent. She wasn't wearing name tags. She didn't have her cars wrapped or signs on them. She wasn't inviting them to open houses or client events. She wasn't doing any of that stuff. People love her. So basically, in 90 days, we said, all right, you need to work your sphere of influence as a referral system and not just like assume these people are going to come to you and buy. Right. And there's another guy I'm training too in my own local town. He's like, I have this he comes from a rock and roll bands as his background, and he knows all the producers and all the like millions of people here in LA that are part of this business. And he's like, but they won't buy or sell from me. So I'm like, call them, ask them for referrals, ask them to support you. It's okay, just don't be cheesy, right? um, Business owners, it says right here in the middle, ask business owners if you can have a referral program. These small businesses that are dying right now, they would love nothing more than to team up with their community and see if you can't share and barter leads and all that stuff. So you can go to the restaurants and say, listen, I will gladly give out a couple gift certificates at my, my webinar, my program, and I will try to do everything I can to bring as much people to your business as possible. I'll put it on my postcards if you want to co-market. What can I do? Do you have a referral program? Like, how can I refer to you? How can I refer to you? And if it works, can you refer back to me? It's really interesting. So if you've ever been to what do they call a tip or a normal network meeting, which I promise you guys are such a waste of time, but I used to go all the time because I didn't know any better. And you have a group of people in different what do you call different businesses, right? You have your attorney, you have your chiropractor, you have this, that, and the other. And these people it's their job to ask you for a referral every week. And then sometimes you don't really feel comfortable with those people, but when it comes time to refer, you're like, what I did all the time was I'd be like, all right, this is my normal chiropractor, but this one's in my network group and seems to be really good too. Like, I felt guilty not referring to them because they asked so much. So if you, that came out wrong, but if you ask a lot, you will get a lot. And that's just the way it is with your sphere of influence. Help them understand that it's win-win. And then we even have it, kids sports right here, churches, clubs. These are things that if you start, like, if you guys, I don't know, oh, I'm in my closet right now. I can show you all my clothes. Look, I'm wearing a Team Bjorkman hat, right? This reminds my sphere every day that I'm a real estate agent. Every shirt I wear to work has my name on it. Everything I do has my name, and you know that I'm a realtor. I'm always giving out promotional items. I'm giving out, even camping this weekend, I must have given out a bunch of koozies, for my property management company. Like, it's just normal, and as long as you're not cheesy about it, it's okay. And I love the sentence here, and I don't remember even writing this. It says, the more you pay attention, the more it becomes second nature. So if you guys start working your sphere, it really does. It does happen fast. It really does. So keep that in mind too. Property management companies, this is a gold mine. So I know that in my property management company, we probably get, let's just say, without a doubt, we get 50 transactions a year. Not to beat up Larry too much this morning, but I know he just listed a home yesterday from a lead from our property management company, and it's a $675,000 home. So here's what happens. If you are an agent, you go to your property management company, and there's a lot of them that don't do sales. You guys got to understand that. And you just simply say, hey, I'm in real estate, you're in real estate. Who is currently handling all the move up tenants or tenants that are going to be buyers? Who's handling everybody who wants to sell? And it's mind blowing because I've been coaching this for so long. People come back to me and go, Mike, they weren't referring to anybody. They were just telling people they don't do sales. Well, guess what, Mr. and Mrs. Property Manager Owner? If I could put another 2, 4, 5, 6 grand a month in your pocket, would that help you? And when you ask like that, it's different because people start envisioning different things. Like if somebody says, Mike, if I give you 5 grand a month free, what would you do? I go, well, that's my house payment. So sure, yeah, I'd like that. So speak to them in those kinds of ways with that kind of language so they understand. But you can actually ask them to work the databases too. Hey, I'll help you. I'll call through the tenants and see who wants to renew their lease. And if they don't, guess what? I'll pay you a referral fee. Same thing with the owners. I'll call through your database and see if they want to sell. And if they want to sell, cool. If they want to re-rent, I'll hand them back over to you. And you guys can work out a deal with these people. They have more leads. Like we use a company called Appfolio, and it's got what we call guest cards. And we get, I don't know, let's say 100 a week buyers that go on our website to ask about rental properties. And all we have to do is call them and say, hey, listen, what if you could buy a property? I'll tell you right now, it's easier to rent or buy a property than it is to rent from us. Have you considered renting? Yeah, or buying? Yeah, I have. Well, what has stopped you? Well, I think I have a couple charge-offs. Oh, I think I have and more often than not, it's something that's really fixable. So create a property management company or create relationships with them for sure. People say, is it kickbacks? No, they have a real estate license just like you. Is it a kickback if you refer somebody across the country to sell them a house? No, of course not. Offer to do their showings, offer to do their open houses. And they understand that you're going to try to convert them. But here's what's nice. You can't always convert them. So they're going to still be tenants and they're still going to be landlords. So don't, only the weak ones will be like, oh, you're trying to steal my clients. No, they're going to do it anyways. I just want to get your money in your pocket for helping. So what does that say? Add them to a goodie wrap. Oh, so property management companies are kind of like, think about how your title or escrow reps, they always come around and drop crap off at your office. This is now you need to be that person and drop off bagels on Fridays or something to the property management companies to loosen them up a little bit. It's kind of like new construction agents. They don't really like you because they've tried really hard to make it in this business and they failed. So they had to go get a 9-to-5 at a new construction place. Not saying property managers like that, but you have to loosen them up and get them grooving a little bit too. So we can talk more about this later. We could actually use our company TechLead. We can have them put a we could Zap from Zapier. You guys know what that is. We could take that, the guest cards, and then we could fill out what's called a type form. It says, hey, if you could buy, would you, a couple of questions, and then that lead comes directly to you. So we have the software that could make that happen. And you could just say, here, property manager, just attach this to your software. That's all you have to do, and I'll handle the rest. So we can talk about that later. Community outreach. I think we beat this pretty good up 2 weeks ago, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Go back to the, what was it called? Community outreach and being a town celebrity or something like that. It was just the week before last, so make sure you look at week 7 or 8, whatever. You'll see it there. There's a really good training on that one, and that's it. So right now, that was 10. That was good, and we're even on time. I love it. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing, you guys. Based on what I said, is there anybody with any questions on here? Is there any concerns? Do you want to debate anything? And you could open it up since we have a few minutes about just questions on anything going into the Q&A here. Otherwise, we'll end a little early today, which is cool. Oh no, I lied. You guys were supposed to remind me. Okay, back to sharing screen. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. Our conversions, our buyer conversion scripts. We have to have those. All right, so let me go back to share screen. All right, so back to YouTube, Mike Bjorkman, training. See, now you guys know how to find the YouTube channel. Mike Bjorkman training, click on videos, click on stop. If I remember right, they're way at the bottom. So the reason I'm showing you this instead of just giving you the scripts is you guys could give them to your team and know they're always here. All right. Geez, you guys, there's so many good videos on here. You guys should be watching these. All right, here it is. Buyer conversion scripts 1 through 3 and 3 to 5. I'm just going to play these so you can hear them. It's only 2 minutes long, but these are the scripts I've always used and forever will use, and they're awesome. So, and yeah, they're branded HomeSmart. When I used to own HomeSmart, I should buyer redo them and not set an appointment. All right, let's listen. Hey guys, it's Mike Bjorkman. Thank you for watching Minute with Mike. Today's video is all about buyer conversion. Don't get on the phone with a potential buyer and not set an appointment. So let's start with my #1 favorite default script. I wrote it down, I don't even have to look at it. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if I could show you foreclosures and short sales that not yet on the market, would you like to see those with me? And what do they say? Of course. The second script is the better deal script. So, Candy, I know of some other homes nearby that seem to be better deals. Would you like me to check their availability and get right back with you? I know it's a long shot, but wouldn't it be worth it?
Number 3, I see what you're looking for could be quite a challenge. One of the benefits of working with my office is we compile all the MLS data of homes that went on the market and did not sell. For whatever reason, they may not be ready to list, but possibly we can get you in to see them and they would like to sell at this time. Would you like me to follow up? So those are 3 very
So you see, guys, those are all basically off market, right? Buyers want inventory. They want something that only you can give them, and that's how they can become so loyal. All right, here's the last 2 of those scripts.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, one of the benefits of
Oops.
working.
God, I hate saying that.
Hi, guys, it's Mike Bjorkman. Thanks for watching Minute with Mike. Here's the deal. Last week, we gave you the first 3 of buyer converting scripts, and now today, number 4 and 5 of the best buyer conversion scripts I've ever used, and I've used them for over 25 years. This one is a tax script. It takes a little bit more practice, but here it goes. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, one of the benefits of working with Team Bjorkman is we preview properties all day, every day. What that means to you is we could show you neighborhoods with low or no HOA, no Mellorews, no school bonds, things of that nature that really raise your payment, hidden fees almost, if you will. So we can increase your purchase power. So by working with us, we can show you homes in those areas that could possibly save you $5, $8, maybe even $1,000 a month. Wouldn't that be great? How about we give you a list of those, or would you like to see them today? Or tomorrow would be better. So the other one is the US.
Okay, I wanted to point out real quick on why that's such a good script, you guys. In my particular area, it's suburbia, but we still have rural property. We have people that have no HOAs. We have no Mellorews, but then we have areas that are all new and that are like that. So we have this big mix of like normal people, yuppies. And when you talk to them about the script, this is what I like about it. It tells me what kind of people they're. They're like, oh no, I want an HOA. Yeah, for sure. I'd rather not have Mellorews, but yeah, I like HOAs, or the areas that I want to be in, I know they're going to have Mellorews, so I'm okay with that. So it helps me decide what kind of buyer I'm working with. Are they a yuppie soccer mom with a white BMW and a black one, or are they somebody with a boat and an RV that wants to be kind of a little more private? And that helps me out too. So I just wanted to point that out. Every time I've used that script, I really learn a lot about my buyer. But that brings up a conversation. All right, here's the next one.
USP script, you have to have a USP in your pocket. When people are on the fence, it pushes them over to you and your team. Here we go, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Not only can we show you foreclosures and short sales, but when you do purchase one of those with us, we're going to go ahead and pay for your move, or we're going to go ahead and pay for your closing costs, or we're going to give you a free home warranty, or we're going to give you something, whatever that is, a unique selling proposition. So they say, wow, he can get us a good deal, find default homes that are not even on the market yet, and give us a great closing gift, and he promises that up front. So those are 2 very powerful scripts.
All right. So now you guys know where that's at. I hope you like those scripts. They've worked. I've used them. I didn't just make up weird things for fun. They've worked for years and years and years. The unique selling proposition, we could probably do another class on this on USPs because there are some really good ones out there. And there is a class on the YouTube channel about unique selling proposition. So if you want to learn more about that, it's already on the YouTube channel. So I guess that's it for today, guys. It looks like there's no questions. I really appreciate you starting your Monday with me. Next week will be week 10. I'm probably going to try to get G from my Lopo on so we could start talking about some of the seller leads. And then the week after that, if we don't have that, we're going to have the ultimate listing presentation. I will be either role playing or giving a listing presentation right here so we can record it. You guys can see it and see some of the little tactics I use to list homes over Zoom, list homes over the phone, list homes in person, kind of give you my thing, like, I don't know, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm going to show you how I list homes. This is my kind of routine. I guess that's what I was looking for. When I go to somebody's home in person also, I'll go through that. So, all right, guys, you're the best. Share this with people. Go back and watch the other ones. I hope you guys are enjoying this. It seems like we had pretty much everybody stay on the whole time today, so I hope that helped. You guys are the best. All right, be good.